Welcome to Just a Minute. My name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this special edition of Just a Minute from BBC Television Centre. We found our way at last onto your television screens after celebrating 45 years of radio triumph. So without further ado, please welcome to the show four fabulous, talented performers. And they are seated on my right, Paul Merton and Tony Hawks, and seated on my left, Lisa Tarbuck and Giles Brandreth. Please welcome all four of them. Yes! The players will try to speak for just a minute on a subject that I give them, and they must try and do that without hesitation, repetition or deviation. The other three panellists can challenge at any time, and if I uphold that challenge, they gain a point and take over the subject. If not, the person speaking gains a point and continues with the subject. And by the way, they can repeat the subject on the card. Giles, would you take the first subject? Pardon my French. Will you tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now?
Bonsoir Nicolas et tout le monde qui est ici ce soir. Je suis vraiment honoré d'être avec vous et je veux essayer de parler pour 1 minute dans la langue française. Pas nécessairement très facile à faire, mais je vais, sans hésitation ni déviation, je vais essayer de faire ça. Et messieurs, dames...
Tony, you've challenged.
Repetition of they.
He did repeat very.
Yeah. They. Got it in one.
Oh, yes, so, confortablement, ils sont complètement? I hope you understood that. Now, pardon my French. That is, Tony, you had a correct challenge there, and so you take over the subject. There are 39 seconds still available. Pardon my French, starting now.
Ce n'est pas seulement Gilles qui peut parler français. Je peux le faire aussi si je veux. But people tend to say, pardon my French, when they're swearing or don't want to be seen to be very rude. It doesn't bother our host. People would be interested to know...
Giles, of challenge.
Repetition of people.
Correct challenge, repetition of people. You take over the subject, you take it back. Pardon my French, with you, Giles. 22 seconds starting now.
The person who most needs to pardon my French is an old teacher, because I was a pupil at the Lycée Français de Londres, where the masters and mistresses, I use the word advisedly, were all of a Francophile disposition, and many of them were, in fact, nationals of that particular country.
Paul challenge.
Oh, Francophile individuals and nationals of that particular country. Francophile isn't a country. Do you see what he said? He was referring to the country.
They were Francophiles or of that country. They were either enthusiasts for France, they were the Francophiles,
yes.
or they were natives of that
Paul
country.
is actually right. You have a correct challenge. You get a point for that, of course. 7 seconds still available, and your time starts now.
I did metal work. Pardon my trowel. It's really the same sort of thing, really. I've got no idea what this round's been about at all.
No. I think you deserve a bonus point for that.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
That's the first time I've had my ignorance clapped.
It wasn't ignorance, it was your wit.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, Tony, you challenged first.
Yes, well, we count that as a hesitation if you
do
stop.
You count that as hesitation,
Or
Tony.
un moment. Is that French?
A bit Spanish.
Bit Spanish, oh well.
A correct challenge,
Yes.
so you have another point, and you have 6 seconds still available. Pardon my French, starting now.
I have never had to pardon my French kissing. It is of an extraordinarily high calibre.
I disagree, it's rubbish. It was hardly worth getting drunk for.
Tony, I've never heard anybody, after a bit of osculation, saying, pardon my French kiss. It's ridiculous.
Well, I've done it to such a high calibre, I've never had to pardon my French kissing, you see. This is my point.
Exactly. What did you challenge then?
Well, I get bogged down with details. I I don't have a challenge. I don't really.
You don't? All right, well, there's only, you see, I have to be so careful here because there's only half a second to go. So, Tony, you have half a second, pardon my French, starting now.
Sur le pont d'Avignon, non...
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point, and it was Tony Hawks. And you won't be surprised to know that he's in the lead at the end of the first round. Lisa, we'd like you to begin the next round.
Lovely.
The subject is man's best friend. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
My friend Roger Mann's best friend is a woman called Sarah Hughes who works in a bookshop in Liverpool. The thing with Sarah is she's very, very... Oh! Classic!
Oh, the classic problem in just a minute. And Paul, you picked it up first.
Repetition of Sarah. You said that as well. I ignored very well, but you did say Sarah twice.
Yeah, that's very clever of you, yes. So it's,
Galloped.
and you've got 50 seconds. You tell us something about man's best friend, starting now.
Man's best friend is undoubtedly Colin Watson. He lives in Rotherham, and any time a man is in trouble, they go to him and they say, "My dear friend, get me out of this particular hole I find myself in now." They often say that dogs are man's best friend, but I don't really know if that's the case. My best friend wouldn't get up to some of the things that those creatures do. Have you seen canines walking through the park? They have the most extraordinary lifestyle. People clean up after them, which is lovely. But whether that qualifies them as man's best friend, I don't know. How about man's best friend being the giraffe? A majestic animal with its long neck and its nibbling of acacia trees. It shows to humanity that we and other species can be joined together as we search towards truth, light and the American way. Yes, we must go to the safari parks and unleash them. Sorry, it's just something I feel passionate about.
Well, that passion, speech of absolute rubbish was delightful. You kept going till the whistle went, gained that extra point on man's best friend, and you're still in second place, but it doesn't matter. You're only 1 point behind our leader, Tony Hawks. Paul, we'd like you to begin the next round. I don't know what you're going to do with this. When I worked as a meteorologist... After man's best friend, tell us something about that one in this game, starting now.
When I worked as a meteorologist, my workmates didn't like me. They were a bit of a shower. In fact, I used to... Well, you've grown enough and he's been given the subject. And they used to rain on my parade. I'd say no. Sometimes there were scattered spells of interest, but they didn't last very long. I could never work out the difference between the various clouds. There's Nimbus and the other ones. And that's where I got confused, because when I was delivering the weather forecast after the 6 o'clock news, a nation I could see...
Giles challenge.
Always delivered just before the 6 o'clock news. Deviation in terms of the Radio Times. I mean, I checked.
But also, it is delivered later at night, isn't it? After the 10
After the 6 o'clock news implies immediately after the 6 o'clock news.
Surely the really relevant point is it's never presented by Paul Merton.
Well, because I didn't get on with them, because I had these rain-based puns that nobody likes.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And if I can address the balance sometime later, Paul, I will give you the benefit. Right now, Giles has got it. He has the subject. When I worked as a meteorologist, and there are 33 seconds available, starting now.
When I worked as a meteorologist, it was always the first day of spring, because...
Paul challenge.
Get yourself a new calendar. He said every day was the first day of spring. You'd be thrown out, you're coming out with that rubbish. Hello, it's the first day of spring again.
No, I tell you,
Go on, this should redress the balance.
Absolutely. You've taken the very words out of my mouth.
Have I?
Yes, we are. I think it's because, I mean, he was using
Yes,
it
you're right.
metaphorically
It
speaking.
was, absolutely.
You were using it metaphorically.
It's like saying after the 6 o'clock news, isn't it?
So you have the benefit of the doubt,
Yes.
and you have when I worked as a meteorologist, and you've now got another point. Oh, they're all equal in the lead. Giles Brando, Tony Hawks and Paul Merton. And 28 seconds available still, Paul, starting now.
I was aware of a persistent cold front that led all the way up to Christmas. My work colleagues were...
Lisa
said
Chance.
work before in the first
did,
batch.
you're absolutely
yes,
right.
you did, yes, right. So, Lisa, you got in on this subject now. When I worked as a meteorologist, you have 21 seconds if you want them starting now.
I was in charge of the shipping forecast, and my favourite area was German Bight, which is adjacent to Dogger, you'll understand. The news there was we joined the meteorology office in 1920 or thereabouts after the First World War, and I had to go down and check for mines.
Tony of Challenge.
No,
She's not that old, surely.
I
Really?
am. Nipped and tucked.
Oh, right.
It's one way of saying it.
Really, yeah.
No, Lisa, looking at you, I cannot believe that you were there right back at the beginning. So, Tony, correct challenge. And you've got him with 4 seconds to go.
4 seconds.
And you start now.
When I worked as a meteorologist, I did a lot of French kissing, and very popular I was too in the department. I would go through
So Tony Hawks was in Speakers of Whistle when gained that extra point, and he's moved forward, and he's just taken the lead 2 points ahead of the others. Giles, we'd like you to begin the next round, and the subject is, drinking games. Tell us something about that in this game, starting now.
Recently, I happened to be staying for the weekend at Highgrove. This is where Prince Charles lives with his second wife. And though Camilla was not actually anywhere to be seen.
Tony's challenge.
Well, he did an which we count as a hesitation. He went and
Did I?
Yeah. Yeah, and besides,
I imagine
my
I was
story is so...
overawed by the glory of my story. I do apologise.
I thought the audience went,
Yeah, I think so. I think they were going, oh.
No.
Some of them were getting down on their knees, I noticed. It was rather charming.
They're trying to crawl out without being spotted.
Tony, another point, 52 seconds, drinking games, starting now.
Every 4 years there are Olympic Games, but London...
Hesitation.
Hesitation,
Definitely.
A complete full stop.
Well, yes, I was going to say every again, and, you know, what do you do when you start to say every, and then you... Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's a
Lisa,
disaster.
you have the subject. You have 47 seconds, drinking games, starting now.
I like nothing more than enticing a whole shipload of sailors off of their boat in Plymouth and...
Tony did.
Well, repetition of off. She went off of.
OK.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I suppose that's not off two offs, is it? It's an off and then an off.
Yes, on and off.
Yeah,
And the
I
story
thought-
was just hotting up.
I'm not sure we can pick up the thread now. If I may use that euphemism.
We can all just loosen our clothing a bit and get ready for it now.
Right, here we are. So, Lisa, an
Okay.
incorrect challenge, a point to you. Drinking games, 42 seconds, starting now.
Our favourite tipple, of course, is a Nelson's Blood, reminiscent of that old fruity Matelot from years gone by.
There
Giles,
was a bit of a hesitation, a touch of an
there was. You looked at Giles.
Yeah, indeed.
He resented you calling Nelson, the great
know.
admiral, a fruity nut. A fruity Matelot.
He was a fruity Matelot, though, wasn't he?
I
You've got
didn't-
one or two fruity sayings of his.
I have.
You've been regaling us in...
That was Napoleon.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Napoleon.
I'm of an age.
Right, so, Giles, a correct challenge. 36 seconds
What
are
is the subject
available. Drinking games, starting
Sailors.
now.
Yeah, we were...
Hesitation. Clearest case of hesitation I think we've ever had. Very clear hesitation. You could have made a ham sandwich in that. You could have forward, you could have made a ham sandwich.
I think, to be fair to Giles,
Yeah.
he didn't realise we were about to start.
No, I was giving... Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. I'm now poised.
You're not
So,
poised.
Giles,
I'm now when I say I'm poised, I mean, that's for you to judge. But I mean, I'm ready.
So, Giles,
Yeah.
it's drinking games, 35 seconds, starting now.
In Shakespeare's play Twelfth Night, Sir Toby Belch, Andrew Aguecheek and Feste with Maria indulge in drinking games and sing the most extraordinary catch round. Productions of this enjoy the drinking games hugely. There is a lot of acting that involves leaning forward like this and then going backwards. Ho, ha, he is not the sound that is normally made, but repetition is not permitted in this particular drinking game that I'm indulging in now. A glass of schnapps, then vodka, wine from Germany, France, Italy, all those extraordinary places, and then, of course, Algeria, where it tastes like resin.
So, Charles Brandrett was speaking then as a whistle Wayne gained that extra point, and he's moved forward. He's now in second place, 1 point behind Tony Hawks. Tony, it's your turn to begin. Ah, lovely subject. Peter Pan. Tell us something about Peter Pan in this game starting now.
I've always wondered what Captain Hook was called before he had his hand bitten off. J.M. Barrie never really told us that in Peter Pan. However, it's a delightful story about a little boy who...
Giles, challenge.
Well, just to be a bit nitpicking, in fact, J.M. Barrie does tell us in the storybook version of Peter Pan. He explains, in fact, that he went to Eton, and that at Eton he was indeed already called Hook. And has a whole sequence. This is in the novelisation, published in 1906, 2 years after the original play.
How do we...
I'm just throwing this in because this is BBC Two, and I think just feel.
What you don't know, Giles, is I've got a computer under here. I've Googled it, and you're talking absolute rubbish. He's made the whole thing up.
Can you get the weather on?
On this one, I am right. James Hook. There's a sequence. There's a paragraph in the book. He wrote a novelisation
You're
of
saying
the
he was
play.
called James Hook, and it's just a coincidence that he had his hand bitten off, and then was called Hook.
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, that's what J.M. Barrie...
People all over the country on BBC Two are turning off now.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, Giles, and say that you have an incorrect challenge. Another point to you. Peter Pan is still with you. 46 seconds, starting now.
I think he doesn't really know who was talking
Oi.
before. You said incorrect challenge, continue talking, and I thought I better.
So we both began at the same time. I challenge.
It's... OK, let's start from the war. We won the war in 1945. 1946, we went into repertory. Then there was the Arthur Show in the 60s. Then we had the Beatles, Man on the Moon.
Can I also point out, I've been doing this show for 45 years, never missed a performance, I've never had a moment like this before.
No, apart from 1972 through to 1978.
You are wicked, you really
sorry,
are.
yes.
So where are we?
I've got about 46 seconds, quite a long time to go, but
I know, you've got it, Giles. I said you had 46 seconds. Peter Pan with you, Giles, so I was correct.
Yes.
Starting now.
The part to play, of course, is the role of Tinkerbell, which I've essayed myself on more than one occasion. Wendy is a delightful role also, and of course the name is one originated by Sir James himself.
Tony
I
Chan.
think he did say roll twice.
Yes, you did a roll. Two rolls. Well, listen, Tony. And you have a correct challenge now, which I agree with. And 41 seconds, Tony. Peter Pan, starting now.
A young man who will not...
To Paul challenge.
Did we have Young before?
Yes, you did.
We didn't.
Didn't we? Who thinks we had Young before?
You had a young boy before.
Yeah, well, there's a repetition of Young.
Did I say young
You
boy?
did, yeah.
Oh, well,
you
maybe.
changed lad to boy, but you said young.
Ah, probably did.
Paul, correct challenge. And you have 39 seconds. Tell us something about Peter Pan in this game, starting now.
Peter Pan, young boy, lad, adolescent.
Lisa challenge.
I just thought there was a bit of a gap between lad and adolescent.
There was, but not enough to give him hesitation.
Just
really.
saying, just trying to play the game.
So, Paul, an incorrect challenge. You have another point. You have 36 seconds. Peter Pan, starting now.
J.M. Barrie, as Giles said, created this timeless, immortal creature back at the turn of the last century. And what a magnificent story it's been, enchanting children.
Tony challenge.
I don't think it was the turn of the last century, it was a century before.
Has anyone got a calendar? OK, let's go back to the war. 1945, we beat the Germans, then there's the Beatles, then there's Space, Margaret Thatcher.
Wasn't the turn of the last century when we turned from the 20th to the 21st century? And he did it at the turn of the 19th and the 20th century.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's right.
That is right.
Yes, that is right.
So it was the turn of the 19th century, so you are incorrect.
Yes, I am.
Yes, that's right.
I'm glad we're in total agreement on that.
Right, so, Tony, another point. 27 seconds. Peter Pan, starting now.
Like Peter Pan, our esteemed host refuses to grow old. Look at him, he's wearing shorts under there like a little lad, and he was parading...
Paul challenge.
Repetition of lad.
We did have a lad before. So, Paul, correct challenge, and you have 19 seconds on Peter Pan starting now.
I remember the cartoon version very well, made by Walt Disney sometime around 1960-something, I think, but...
Giles challenge.
1954.
Yes, it is 54. I think he's absolutely right. Sometime around 1960, given the course of time.
I think so. I think I gave the benefit of the doubt against you last
The wrong
time.
decade. 55, maybe 53, 51. 1960 something or other.
Look,
surely.
It was the same century.
But you wouldn't know which century that was.
That's true, I don't, actually.
You see how passionate they get about this game?
Yeah.
They will fight for their points like this.
Yes.
You've all gone very quiet. Anyway, no, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt.
OK.
Paul, right. 13 seconds available, Paul. Peter Pan, starting now.
Wendy was a name that was invented specifically for the play. Nobody had been...
So, Giles, you're going this time correctly, yes?
Yes, hesitation.
Absolutely.
Right, so you needn't get too passionate, because you've got the subject anyway, and you've got 8 seconds. Peter Pan, starting now.
In any production of Peter Pan in which I intend to appear, I hope the role of Hook...
Tony Challenge.
Third time you said roll.
No.
Yeah.
This was a... Well, I suppose it... Yes.
So you listen well, Tony, and
Yeah,
you've got
I
in...
love the way his machinations are going there. I can get out of this, I can get out.
But you couldn't, and we were. So we've had this round's gone on for an awful long time, hasn't it? 3 seconds are still available. Tony and Peter Pan starting now.
What an amazing part for any actor to play, to tread the boards dressed in the...
So Tony Hawks is again speaking as the whistle when gained that extra point. He's now in a strong lead. We're ahead of Paul Merton and Giles Brand with equal in second place. Lisa's bringing up a magnificent third place. And Paul, we'd like you to begin the next round. Oh, a very pompous subject. Sir Isaac Newton. Tell us something about Sir Isaac Newton in this game, starting now.
Sir Isaac Newton had a pet tortoise called Fluffy, and this creature was a magnificent visionary. It said to Isaac Newton one day, you know, I've been thinking about the law of gravity. What particular aspect of that subject you've just mentioned do you wish to talk to me about, said Isaac Newton. And his round, hard-shelled companion said, if we look to the skies, we can see meteorites and various planetary bodies heading towards us. But how come they do not break the Earth's atmosphere? Some do. Others penetrate. They come down and hurtle towards...
Tony Challenge.
Was there a repetition of penetrate?
No.
How come they don't...
What an odd word to imagine I said twice.
Reverie.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said they penetrate the atmosphere and then again.
No, I wasn't really listening, so I mean, I'm not one to speak to.
To be honest, with a tortoise, you're never sure what they're saying.
You don't know, they're very slow.
Yeah.
I don't believe a tortoise spoke to Sir Isaac Newton.
No.
Oh, well,
It wasn't called Fluffy anyway.
Anyway, you didn't challenge for that, so an incorrect challenge, Paul, and you have Sir Isaac Newton still, and 26 seconds starting now.
Isaac Newton became a member of the House of Lords, I believe, and the only utterance he ever made in his entire attendance in that venerable building was to ask if somebody would mind if he opened the window. This is a true fact. It's one of the few...
Lisa, challenge.
Actually, I think it's, would you mind if you shut the window?
It is, you're right.
You
It is, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right.
That's why we have you, Lisa. Your erudition and knowledge, right? And you've got him with the correct challenge. And 13 seconds to go, Sir Isaac Newton starting now.
So Isaac Newton was a premature baby born, ridiculously enough, on Christmas Day, 3 months after his father passed on. His interesting life began with his mother taking care of him because she was very worried.
So, Lisa Tarbuck was speaking as whistle when gained that extra point. And she's moved forward. She's still in 4th place, but she's moved forward. And, but she's in a very strong 4th place. Because the points are secondary. It's their contribution that... Oh. We've only got time for one more round. I was a bit shaken as I thought my mother's calling me in for afternoon tea. And, by the way, you might be amused to know that Sir Isaac Newton was also born in Grantham, the town where I was also born.
And
You couldn't care less.
What was it that fell on your head then?
The reaction from that audience then.
The tree.
So we've got time for one more round. Giles, it's your turn to begin. Ooh, speed dating.
Oh, hello.
Oh, yes, here we are.
He's an expert.
Yeah. 60 seconds starting now.
You live and learn, then you die and forget it all. And speed dating is an experience that I have had, and it was brief. I'm sorry to tell you, I arrived at the speed dating parlour. It was a public house. There were a lot of girls all lined up. I sat down. None of them sat down with me. The speed, it was...
Tony,
Oh, yes, you're right. No.
2 sat down.
Two sat downs.
Two sat downs,
Two
yes.
sat downs. I'm glad I didn't, because this was a very bitter story.
Tony, you challenge. You have speed dating. You don't have it, but that's the subject. 45 seconds starting now.
Many years ago, I played the piano in a wine bar where they decided to hold some speed dating. It was extraordinary. People sat down, then another person would be rolled in opposite them, and a clock would start, and they'd chat. The minute, a bit like this game, would be up, they'd move on to somebody else. It was extraordinary. Had they fallen in...
Lisa, you challenge.
two extraordinaries.
Yes. So, Lisa, you got in on this last subject, and there are 27 seconds starting. Speed dating starting now.
I can't really see the point of speed dating because I think it's all about giving the other person the eye, not really getting to know them. Don't pat...
No, Paul, you challenge first.
Hesitation.
Yeah,
was a
I was just
hesitation.
stopped with him doing that.
I can
mate.
tell you
Were you being interfered with?
I was.
I
I was
wasn't
being
invading
messed
your
about.
space. I was going to say, how can you say speed dating?
Chauffeur's window. Can't hear you. I should give you my back.
You get a bonus point for your reaction there,
Thank
for
you.
your comment and your wit, which got a wonderful reaction from the audience. So Lisa has another point. Give her 2, she needs them, right. No, give her 3, because it's the last round. That's better. And Paul, you had a correct challenge.
Yes,
And
hesitation.
speed dating, 19 seconds starting now.
There I was, going round with Lewis Hamilton. He was doing about 120 miles an hour, and I was trying to catch up with him, Brands Hatch, and I suddenly shouted through the cockpit window, "I love you, you are the world's most exciting racing driver as far as I'm concerned." Then he was gone. Then I saw somebody else right behind him. I thought, I shall adjust my eye towards this man here, this Formula One driver.
Right. So Paul Merton was then speaking as the whistle went and gained that extra point. And it remains for me to give you the final situation. Well, with a little bit of help from me just then, Lisa Tarbuck and Giles Brandreth and Paul Merton are all equal in second place.
Thank you, Chairman.
But Tony Hawks, I got a few more points, so we say, Tony, you're the winner today. And it only remains for me to say a final thank you to these 4 fine players of this amazing, impossible game. And so it's goodbye from this delightful audience here at the Television Centre. It's goodbye from me, Nicholas Parsons, and goodbye from these 4 lovely players of the game. Do join us again the next time we play Just a Minute.
Musical comedy on Radio 4 now as Alex Horne presents a new series of The Horne Section. While next year on BBC 2, £5,000 is at stake if the Buccaneers can defeat the Eggheads.